Ahoy there, mateys! How would you like some buried treasure? All you need is a treasure map, and X marks the spot. I'll stop. Unfortunately, these treasure maps come from the form of mass-market media, books full of convoluted puzzles and riddles that may have made sense to their creators, but to the rest of the world sometimes seem so obtuse as to border on the impossible. It began in 1979 with British writer and illustrator Kit Williams, author of Masquerade. This book contained riddles that would lead the reader to the location of a golden hair buried somewhere in England, and it is regarded as the origin of the armchair treasure hunt genre. The book was a massive success, though the treasure hunt was not without controversy. But the success of the book led to hundreds, if not thousands, of subsequent treasure hunts. They are still being created, and many of them are still going on today. Whether the prize is gold, jewels, or Pokemon, today we'll be looking at 5 ongoing treasure hunts that potentially make you a fortune from the comfort of your living room. This first one is a fully armchair-based treasure hunt, where you can retrieve the treasure from your own home. While most treasure hunt books tend to be very short, focusing just on the puzzles, Cracked is a full 151-page novel by an author known only as Professor F. The book, released in 2021, centers around a character known as Nix, a former CIA agent turned hacker. Nix went on the run after failing to expose CIA corruption, managing to take refuge among the world's greatest hackers, Cicada 3301. That's how the book describes it anyway, though Cicada never did any hacking. Regardless, Nix and Cicada worked together to hack into a crooked billionaire's crypto wallet, which is also the treasure at the end of this puzzle. The prize is not actually billions of dollars, it's closer to around $15,000 in Bitcoin, but the goal is to unlock a real crypto wallet. Each of the 12 chapters in the book is a keyword hidden within, and by entering all 12 keywords, it will unlock the crypto wallet to whoever can solve the puzzle. Professor F has even confirmed that the first and last keywords are love and blouse, but it seems that they will not be confirming any more keywords in the future, at least not for the time being. That may change eventually, as many in the community have called Cracked the new whistle pig, an allusion to a seemingly impossible armchair treasure hunt from 2003. Of course, others argue that in both cases, the issue isn't necessarily that they're too difficult, it's just that people aren't trying hard enough. Both books are actual books, which is very different to how most of these hunts work, and is a turn-off to many would-be treasure hunters. In the case of Whistle Pig, the ambiguity about the prize has also been a potential deterrent. The treasure hunt will reveal the location of a key, but the value of the key will only be realized in its physical location. That could mean a lot of different things, ranging from a tiny prize to a massive one. But with Whistle Pig and Cracked, one thing is certain: it needs to be a group effort. There are too many specific allusions to things that it seems unlikely one person would ever know them all. If you do choose to work in a group to solve Cracked, though, just make sure you're the one to unlock the wallet first. French writer and puzzle creator Regis Hauser created a number of armchair treasure hunts under the pseudonym Max Valentine. Of those, his most famous and most vexing is On the Trail of the Golden Owl, published in 1993. Hauser first had the idea for this book in the late 1970s, probably right after the release of Masquerade, but he spent years mulling it over before finally putting pen to paper. The final product contained 11 riddles, which Regis said took 450 hours to design and 11 paintings by illustrator Michael Becker. But it wasn't supposed to be difficult. Hauser stated that if all the searchers put their knowledge together, the owl would be found in 2 hours. He believed the treasure hunt would only last for 4 months to a year, but 31 years later, it is now the third longest running armchair treasure hunt. The puzzles in the book point to a location in France where Hauser buried a bronze owl. The owl was a replica of the real prize, a 10-inch tall owl made of gold, silver, and diamonds. As of 2022, the owl's been valued at €231,000. Although the puzzles were intended to be solved easily, Hauser included a number of red herrings and false leads among the clues. This was, and still is, common among these treasure hunts, but Hauser regretted how much effort he put into fake clues. Had he done a worse job on them, perhaps the treasure would have been found earlier. Hauser passed away in 2009, but the location of the bronze owl has remained in a sealed envelope that was in the possession of his lawyer. However, this story has a couple of twists. The publisher for the book went bankrupt in 2004, and the owl was taken as part of the company's liquidation. Hauser and Becker had to purchase the owl back in 2008. In 2011, when Hauser died, Becker assumed sole ownership of the owl and intended to sell it. However, the court stepped in and forbid him from doing so, forcing the treasure hunt to continue. But the biggest twist came in 2021, when Becker got possession of the sealed envelope. Up till that point, he had no idea where Hauser had buried the bronze owl. Becker and a legal bailiff traveled to the location where the owl was originally buried to ensure that it was still there, but the bronze owl was gone. In its place was a rusty iron bird. This was replaced by Becker with a new bronze owl so the game could continue, but this means somebody already stumbled upon the owl. In all likelihood, it was not someone seeking the treasure, and they found it by chance, completely unaware of what it was and its true value. But this means there are potentially 2 bronze owls hiding somewhere in France, just waiting to be redeemed for a small fortune. The Golden Apple Tale was written by Cam Kaskin and published in 1982 by Fantasy Press out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. It's the longest-running armchair treasure hunt, though for years it was unknown whether or not the hunt was actually still going on. One of the main reasons for that was that the author and publisher were as much a mystery as the book itself, as Cam Kaskin was clearly a pseudonym and the company Fantasy Press didn't actually exist. The book's only 32 pages long, and the puzzle points to an 18-karat gold apple necklace, which was pictured in the book. Of course, in order to see that picture, you'd need an actual copy of the book, which isn't possible. These armchair treasure hunts were extremely popular right from the start, but they only grew in popularity in the late 90s and early 2000s when the internet gave people an easier way to share information with one another. It was through these treasure hunt message boards that the Golden Apple Tale gained notoriety, as there was only a single copy of the book known to exist. Fortunately, the owner of that book uploaded a black and white PDF of the book's pages because they've since lost the book. There are currently no known physical copies in existence. This led to speculation by many that the treasure hunt was no longer going on. The book, which was sold by the author through ads in magazines, had sold poorly and quickly faded into obscurity. Rumors began circulating that the author, disappointed with the book's poor sales, retrieved the apple to recoup his losses. However, this was ultimately proven false in 2022. Not because anybody found the treasure, that's still buried somewhere, but because a group of dedicated treasure hunters was able to identify the author. The author had used a fake name and a fake publishing company, and even Jeffrey Dewhurst, the jeweler who created the Golden Apple, only knew the author as Cam. But the book did still contain an about the author biography, giving real details of the author's life. With enough effort, they were able to track the person down to Grand Rapids, the location of the fake publishing house. With no other contact information available, one of the people involved in the search, who happened to live in Grand Rapids, drove to the author's house and knocked on his door. After his initial surprise that somebody still cared about the book 40 years later, and after making the stranger promise not to reveal his identity, the author confirmed that he had written the book and that, to the best of his knowledge, the treasure was still buried. He even added some extra information, saying that he drove past it on a regular basis and it never appeared to have been dug up by a treasure hunter or by construction. This meant that the treasure is almost certainly within Grand Rapids somewhere, and that the burial location is visible from the road. Even despite these revelations, the treasure's location has remained a secret. But there is a new treasure as well. Martin Smith, one of the treasure hunters who uncovered Cam's true identity, published the Golden Apple Tale 40th Anniversary Tribute to honor the original mystery. The story was a sequel to the story contained in the original book, and clues in his book lead to a jewel-encrusted golden apple. Written in 1982 by Byron Price, The Secret was America's answer to Masquerade. Price buried 12 boxes around the US and Canada, each in a location that was significant to the history of North America. The boxes themselves didn't contain treasure, but each one contained a key. Whoever found each key was entitled to trade it to Price for a precious gem. The book featured 12 images and 12 verses, and each verse had to be connected to an image and deciphered. It sounds simple enough, but it's been 42 years since The Secret was published, and to date, only 3 of the treasures have been uncovered. You won't be getting any hints either, as Price passed away unexpectedly in 2005, taking the secret locations to his grave, though his estate is still responsible for ensuring the gems be passed on to whoever solves the treasure hunt. The most recent of these 3 treasures uncovered was the discovery in Boston's North End on the 30th of October 2019. The Discovery Channel show Expedition Unknown had done a special episode on the secret, which Jason Krupat's children watched. They immediately went to their father, a puzzle and game designer, believing that he could solve the mystery. It was already largely speculated that one of the treasures was hidden in Boston, and the Krupat family just happened to live in the area. One day, while out for a jog, Jason believed that he figured out the answer. He was sure that it was buried under the home plate in Langon Park. There was just one problem. Major construction had begun at the park. Jason had to talk to the foreman of the construction crew, tell him that he believed there was buried treasure in the park, and then explain that he wasn't a crazy person. He gave a description of what the box would look like and the exact location he believed it was, and then left his phone number with the foreman. 3 months later, he received a call. An excavator had dug dug up and partially destroyed the item that Jason was looking for. Though the story had a happy ending for Jason, it does highlight a potential problem with this hunt having gone on for so long. Sometimes things change. It's possible that some of the verses pointing to treasures may reference landmarks that simply don't exist anymore. But if you're up for the challenge of finding one of the other treasures, there are plenty of online forums, podcasts, and more filled with over 40 years of speculation and analysis for each of the verses. It's largely already agreed in which cities the remaining 9 boxes are buried, so now it's just a matter of finding them. Perhaps you found those last few entries a little daunting. After all, if experienced treasure hunters have been unsuccessful in their attempts to locate the treasure for decades, what chance would an amateur making their first attempt have? But this final entry is a little bit different than the others because the treasure hunt hasn't actually started yet. Not only is it a rare opportunity to get in on one of these hunts from the beginning, but it's also one of the largest prizes ever offered. This Treasure Inside was written by John Collins Black, and it's set to release later this year. According to John, I've hidden a treasure that's worth millions upon millions of dollars, and it's waiting for you to find it. The exact value of the treasure is unknown, but John released a couple of pictures of the treasure that he took before burying it. The treasure chest contains a wide variety of valuables. There's everything from a 3rd century BC Greek amethyst necklace to a PSA 9 first edition Charizard card to 4 99.99% pure gold bars. John even purchased some of the items from the Forest Fen treasure, another Armchair treasure hunt that was solved in 2020 and sold at auction for a total of $1.3 million. Among the items from that cache known to be included in this new treasure hunt are a $46,000 gold pendant and Forest Fen's autobiography. Of course, Forest Fen's book, The Thrill of the Chase, was released in 2010, and it took 10 years for anybody to find the treasure, so even if you were to join this new hunt on day one, it will likely be a daunting and time-consuming task. Still, it is one of the largest prizes ever offered in an armchair treasure hunt, if not the largest, so fans of the genre are anxiously anticipating the book's release. Fans have even compiled a spreadsheet to inventory all of the items revealed by John thus far to be a part of the new treasure hunt, and it's currently valued at over $1.5 million. But how long will it take for somebody to find that treasure is anybody's guess. All we know for certain is that it's buried somewhere in the United States.